What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic Wednesday evening watching WCS America. I'm axeltoss, joined by axslav. And before we get into the next series, Full Sail University. If you're looking for the next step in your educational career and you're interested in video production, graphic design, video game design, stuff like that, check out fullsail.edu/MLG. They'll have you fill in some information about yourself. Then they'll send some information back to you, and you can find out if Full Sail is the right place for you. Full Sail is the official education partner of MLG. That being said, Goswser versus Hwangsin is the next match of the night, and we've had a great night of StarCraft. You know, Heartasia, State Drunken Boy, and it just keeps better. It just keeps getting better and better.
That's right. Of course, there's only 3 matches you see today because the 4th match, Idra versus Puck. Idra did forfeit that match, so Puck advances, and along with the likes of Tasia, State, many others. Goswser versus Hwangsin.
Yes. Now this is a match I'm very interested in because it's the storylines behind the two guys. Goswser, the guy who, you know, started splashing around in the North American scene, started getting some decent results, was picked up by Complexity. I think he was a part of their academy and then was actually graduated onto their team. Had some great results at some MLGs, taking out a lot of great Koreans, then made the transition into Team Millennium, and here he stands. Of course, he was 3rd in a group involving Pult, Revival, and Idra from the Premier League round of 32. Goswser is a guy you can never underestimate. He can take a match off of anyone.
Very, very scary player. In fact, in the round 32, he had some great games against Pult as well there.
Yeah.
That bracket. He actually beat Revival the first time they played, but then lost to Revival in the second decider match, and that's why he's down in this Challenger division.
And of course, he is playing against Mr. Hwangsin. Hwangsin, a player on Quanta Gaming. Of course, he was on It's Gosu, and then It's Gosu merged with 4Not to make, and of course the old Quanta guys, to make Quantic Gaming. Breakout player of the 2012 MLG Fall Championship. This is a guy who has plenty of experience in the the foreign events. He was one of those earlier Korean players to join a non-Korean team. Is very well experienced, loves his 2-base play. He's pretty much known for that, getting those death armies on 2 bases. Really good micro, really good control, and really abusing the mistakes of his opponent, which I think this is going to produce a fantastic best of 3 between these two individuals.
You know, that's something about a lot of these Korean players like Hwangsin, like we saw in Tasia and Hart, is they're so good at exploiting mistakes.
Yes.
I mean, the Tasia vs. Hart series, it always ended suddenly because one of them made a mistake, the other one just jumped on instantly and punched him for it. And that's something that when playing against a guy like Hwangsin, you can't afford to do. Goswser, though, he's no stranger to playing top Korean players.
We'll see what happens, guys. I've asked the players if they are ready. Of course, we are live right now. Hwangsin says yes. Goswser says yes. I'm hitting the start game button. Guys, I'd like to remind you to get on the internet. Get on Twitter, get on Reddit, get on Team Liquid, talk about these awesome matches. Make sure you hashtag WCS on Twitter, and you can have your tweet featured on the stream. And here we go. It's the last match of the night. The best of 3 to decide who's going to move on in the Challenger League and who's going to drop to the group stage. Game 1 is on Whirlwind. And here we are. I have the pleasure of introducing our 2 players, starting with in the bottom right-hand location. The Blue Protoss player hailing from Korea, currently on Team Quanta Gaming. Very electric style. You never know what you're going to get. He is Hwangsin. He does stream and actually English commentates his stream sometimes. I've seen him a couple times, so if you're looking for that, search him on Twitch or Team Liquid. His opponent in the top left-hand location of Whirlwind. Your Red Zerg player hailing from the United States of America, currently on Team Millennium. 3rd place in his round of 32 Premier League group involving Pult, Revival, and Idra. He is Goswser. Of course, the W in his name is not the typical alphabetical W in the context of how he wants to be referred to as. You want to think of it more as a double U, literally, right?
It's not a W, it's a double U.
Exactly. And now that's the important distinction, so it makes Goswser instead of Goswser, if that makes sense.
I kind of like Goswser better though.
Do you?
To be honestly, yeah. It sounds kind of cool.
I was confused for like the longest time. I never knew it was actually Goswser.
It's one of those things that seems obvious, but it's actually not until you hear it.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, how is that spelled Goswser? Like, what?
Hwangsin would be Hwangsin. I think.
So, Nexus first by Hwangsin.
Yeah.
Pylon in base.
PVZ whirlwind.
Oh, gonna block the expansion of Mr. Goswser as well. Nice moves here by the probe, but a second drone comes in. 2-on-1 action here. Probe is
Oh, the probe gets killed.
he gave his life to build that pylon. I don't think that's worth it to give your life for the pylon. I really like my probes though. Every single probe I care so much about. So
That's a good attitude to have. Mentality. He's not gonna cancel it.
and I mean now he's the Protoss is in the dark basically. About is Zerg going 3 base, is 2 base, gas timings, etc. So
Probably send another probe out. I would be inclined to guess.
that's just gonna hit. It's something sometimes players do that, but
Just to be
Hwangsin's a
extra
guy
safe.
who his timings are so
Oh,
precise.
that's a good point.
He's a guy who's like, I need every probe to hit my 2 base timing at exactly this moment.
Well, he sees the 4 links.
Whirlwind's a map that 2 base timings aren't insanely popular on though for Protoss. It's a long map to cross. It's a lot of very open spaces to go through.
We had I remember I'm having a flashback, a memory of Hwangsin versus Cats on this map. Wasn't that a
Yes.
crazy game? Do you remember that, Nick? Cats went for
I
like
do.
a bunch of swarm hosts and he kept throwing them away, and Hwangsin almost won a game
Yeah.
that I don't think he should have won.
No, it was kind of silly. Cats would like send a locust one direction away from Hwangsin, and then he'd send the swarm host to Hwangsin, and I was like, no, Cats! The locusts go to the attack, the swarm hosts stay back. It was kind of fun.
exciting. That was a pretty fun game. Of course, that is on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/officialmlgse2 in 1080p HD. Go check it out.
That was in the qualifiers.
Yes, if you're looking for it, that was the first qualifier I think that we had.
For the Premier League, yes.
Yes.
And Goswser are getting gas faster than typical for Zerg versus Protoss. With 2 drones on gas, but normally if a Zerg goes 3rd hatch before gas, what they do is he's going to see the gas too, so he's going to know that speed could be earlier.
I told you to send another probe.
You're right. You were right.
Will the probe get out alive though? It's possible. Oh, the queen.
It should be painted natural. Actually, we're going to cut it off. So yeah, that gas of course slowed down some of his extra queen production and things like that, but doesn't mean he'll be able to either tech the lair faster or get Zergling speed faster, whichever he prefers.
There's the speed.
Oh, cancel it. Gets lair.
Oh,
I think lair does make more sense. Like getting Zergling speed extra fast. Do you really need it? I mean, it's not gonna be. You want Zergling speed when warp gate comes up, or shortly after warp gate comes up, but beforehand it's not that important. So I do like the lair first if we're gonna get the gas out early.
Getting a fast. Hurt?
He is.
Whoa.
Oh, and it's going to be scouted. The Zergling comes in, spots at 3rd base. The Overlord comes into the main and obviously sees nothing because it's a fast 3rd base. So nice scouting by Goswser. I'm interested to see how he's going to react. He immediately throws down a Roach Warren.
Yeah.
So that means he's going to want to deny this 3rd with mass Roach play, and he can have Roach speed very quickly. You know what he could do? What if he got Burrow too and he just sniped the cannons?
Oh, Zergs have done that against me.
So frustrating.
And that was one of those days where you heard me being angry in my room, Nick.
That must have happened a lot then.
Nick, you went too far. Too much info.
Too much info. Too much info.
Too much info. Yeah, that
going
could
to-
be a very abusive style.
And the fact that he's on lair, but he's not getting all 6 gases means he does just want to crank out a lot of roaches, most likely. So the fast lair isn't going to come into like a tech purpose. It's just going to come in to get roach speed faster, and it's going to be those things where, yes, he won't have that max, 11-minute roach max killing Hwangsin quite as fast as he might be otherwise, but he'll have the speed very early on, and he can try to hit before there's blink, before there's a decent sentry count, before there's a lot of warp gates up. And that timing could catch Hwangsin off guard.
There's also getting a Hydra Den,
Den.
interestingly enough. Now, when defending these two locations, your natural and third, there's like a big space in between them. So it's not like there's a central location you can place your army to defend both locations. So typically, you're going to have one army chilling in your third and one army chilling in your natural expansion. And then it comes down to troop control. Unless you try to engage your opponent in, you know, in the middle of a map near a choke point somewhere. But that can be pretty difficult. So control is going to be very important here for Hwangsin should Goswser decide to try to engage his opponent's 3 bases.
Goswser is not going for any super fast hunt because he went up to 73 drones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's going to have the faster road speed, the faster Hydralisk, but he's not going to be looking to really deny the third. I mean, if he may put on some small pressure, but with how aggressively he droned up, he won't really be a denied third if Hwangsin plays correctly. So the question is, what is his tech path going to be? Is he just going to try to keep trading with Hwangsin and keep the army sizes small? Is he going to progress to Vipers? Is he going to progress to Infestors? Is he going to... I mean, the fact that he's upgrading to Roach Hydra means there's probably not going to be a mutas transition.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised not to see the Infestation Pit yet.
Yeah.
So you can progress into high, possible Vipers, maybe even Swarm Hosts.
He's making a lot of Hydralisk, so he's going to put on some pressure, but... I guess...
Fire! I guess for Corruptors.
More likely Corruptors.
Yeah, I mean,
there could be some... It's hard to really figure out his exact goal.
Yeah, I feel like he's spending too much gas to try to go for Spire or something like that. Or, sorry, to try to go for Mutas or something.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of tricky because Hwangsin probably doesn't know the exact goal of Goswser either. It's like he droned up and macroed up to the point where he couldn't hit fast enough to really deny the third of Hwangsin.
Right.
I mean, assuming that this... I mean, maybe he can actually, depending on
well,
the
I mean, like, if we're talking about AoE, if we're talking about what you need against Hydras, does Hwangsin necessarily have what is necessary? As redundant as it sounds. Mothership Core, don't get sniped!
Oh, that's such an... Oh, now this Hydra attack might work.
Gosh, this is scary. Okay.
Photon Overcharge and Sentries is how you defend this, and half of that, the Photon Overcharge, is not here.
Oh, gosh.
There still are Sentries. Oh, the Sentries, you gotta be so careful.
Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. You have to be very careful defending these locations. There's no Colossi on the field, no Templar. How do you deal with these Hydras?
I mean,
unless you get a ridiculous concave, which is what Hwangsin is going to have to try to go for. The Hydras and Roaches extending into that third base.
I think this Hwangsin is dead.
Alien Zealots, man.
So what happened here is normally you use wait, and they put the Force Woods in front of it.
There's a charge.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually doing a decent amount of damage here, but more reinforcement. Roaches and Lings coming in here. Goswser up 172 to 91 in supply. And I think Hwangsin might just be toast.
He may hang on for a bit here, but
he's hiding his sentries are all buzzing up. Protected by a low.
Oh, there's a Colossus out now.
Okay. Mothership Core's back out, getting energy for Force and Overcharge, which would be nice. But the Roaches spot the Colossus going for it. Trying to retreat back into the natural expansion. More force fields might go down about now. Zealot's being warped in, but the Colossus goes down. And that might have been the only hope Hwangsin had in this game.
I mean, you can't lose a third base against a 4-base surge who's on 80 drones. But at the same time, you can't defend a third base when he's down by 150. So it's a really rough situation. Third base goes down. These units are getting trapped here. Recall out. That's a nice move. So he's going to try to do a, maybe just turtle for a bit and do 2-base timing.
He's countering a little bit with some Zealots on the right side of the map there.
He's softening up that hatchery. Zealots aren't really lasting too long against the Roaches. Oh! Seems 4 force fields there. He's going to defend for a little while. So, you know what's interesting there is normally...
Oh my gosh. Sorry. The Colossus was 2 seconds from being finished, and the pylon was killed.
Oh, that is a shame. And now the Robo's going to die.
And the Robo is going to get sniped from the pylon.
That is just like, everything's going wrong for Hwangsin this game. One of those disaster games where just nothing happens.
Yeah, I think this is one of those where you do your stretches, you prepare for game 2.
Yeah.
Because Goswser, he's up by 100 supply.
And 2 bases.
And 2 bases. Just sniped his opponent's Robo. Potential Colossus. Cybercore goes down too.
The probes, man, they're trying to do their best. Being drafted to the Protoss Defense Corps.
All right, so Hwangsin decided to go for the fast charge.
Yeah, that's...
Instead of, like, you know, obviously faster Colossi or faster Exemplar.
Well, see, what's interesting is that there's two ways for Protoss to fight in the mid-game at their base. You either build sentries and stalkers, and when they try to attack, you cut the Hydrus in half, you kill them all with stalkers. Like, it's a pretty straightforward defense, and that's actually a very, very good defense. The other way is you try to overwhelm them. You get enough Zealots. Zealots are like, they're not finessing. It's not like, oh, I can pick really sick engagements where I only fight part of his army at the same time. No, they're melee set to fight the entire army at the same time, which means you need to be numerically even with the Zerg. But you can't do that if you tech Colossi. You just can't. You can't get as many charge lots as he has Roach Hydra if you're teching. So Hwangsin did a build that just, because he massed Zealots, but then he also tried to tech the Colossi, and he also spent a lot of money getting 5 sentries, which aren't nearly as useful. So it just wasn't a build order that could withstand that type of aggression.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to have to see how Hwangsin adjusts. This is a best of 3, guys, between Goswser and Hwangsin. Goswser taking game 1 relatively convincingly. Stay tuned, guys. Game 2 coming up.